You cannot control the future. You cannot control other people, but you can control yourself. And James opens in chapter 4 talking about this battle between the spirit and the flesh. And we know we're called to be spirit-filled. We're called to deny ourselves what our flesh wants. But sometimes, because this is a battle, this side wins. Because it's easier. It's so easy to be self-centered, to give in to what our flesh wants, rather than fight our flesh to follow the spirit. He has a really, really strong rebuke in verse 4. He says, you adulterous people, don't you know that friendship with the world means enmity with God? We try to be friends with everybody. We try to have our cake and eat it too. We try to say, yes, we're following you, but we still have this one thing that we haven't let go of. We say we're following God, but we have this idol, this one thing that if God walked into the room right now and said, I need that, you wouldn't want to give it away. We all have it. We do. Because we are adulterous people. That sounds harsh and sharp, but it's true. We try to have the best of both worlds, but it never works. Friendship with God equals joy and peace. Friendship with the world is striving, earning, self-centered, trying in our own strength to be the best, to have the best things, to have more money, to compete with the world. God says, let that go. He says, draw near. Draw close to God and he will draw close to you. And I think that is such a beautiful picture. It's beautiful, life-changing imagery to know that we can draw close to God at any point. We can invite him in, we can submit, we can surrender, we can lay it all down at his feet because he wants to carry it for us. He wants to carry our burdens. He wants to take that on because he is our good Father. This whole faith walk is a relationship. It's not following rules. It's not a checklist. It is giving a lot of advice in this book to become more like Christ. But Christ loves you just as you are. He doesn't want you to stay that way. But he's not requiring you to be perfect. He's like, no, come to me and I will give you rest. And I realized today why I love this book so much. Because yes, it's challenging, but I was listening to a sermon and they said that most people are very concerned with evangelism, making more believers, with getting people to understand the gospel. And I love that. Of course, that's our mission, but we're called to make disciples. And sometimes we are more focused on conversion of other people than growth and maturity of ourselves and other believers. We have to have a balance, but this book is all about how to become a mature Christian who is more like Christ. And yeah, a lot of that is personal, but a lot of it is in community. And we see in this chapter and the next and all over the New Testament talks about brothers and sisters, believers, and how we are to live in community. And specifically in here, it's talking about not slandering each other, not judging them. And there's two different kinds of judging. There's one that leads to condemnation, which is looking at the outside, what they look like, what they're doing, what they're speaking, their sins, their actions. And the other one leads to evaluation. And for me, that's discernment. That's the difference between judgment and discernment. Judgment is harsh, and it's unjust, and it is just very outside focused. And discernment is seeing what is happening around us in other people, in our own lives, and doing something about it. And let me just tell you one more thing. You can have compassion and conviction at the same time. You can not like what somebody is doing and not believe it's morally right and not take part in it. But you can also love them well. And loving people well, especially unbelievers who we know aren't doing the right things, is going to lead people to Christ. If you think about how judgy Christians are, especially on social media, it doesn't attract other people to want to be followers of Jesus because they see Christians as judgmental, as harsh, as rude, as holier than thou, as pretending to have it all together, as being perfect, and that is not attractive. And honestly, if that's what Christians really were, that's an exhausting lifestyle, and I don't want to be a Christian either. And this last section, I love. It says boasting about tomorrow. Now listen, you who say today or tomorrow we will go to this or that city, spend a year there, carry on business, and make money. This was a trading culture where they moved around a lot, and so they had a lot of plans. But this is applicable to us too, who make 5-year plans, 10-year plans, today plans, tomorrow plans, checklist plans. And I don't think that this is like never make plans ever. I don't think that's what James is saying. But sometimes we make plans and we forget to include God. Sometimes we become very self-confident and very cocky that I'm going to accomplish this, and this by this age or this time, or I'm going to get this award or this job or have this family or do whatever. It's like, did you ask God? Because that might not be God's plan for you. Instead, verse 15 says, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or do that. And Paul models this so well. He says, God willing, we will do this. If God wills, we will go here. If the Lord allows, we will go this way. And there was a time where the Holy Spirit shut him down. He tried to go somewhere. He was on his missionary journey, and it didn't seem like a bad thing. But the Holy Spirit blocked his path. And so he moved on and went somewhere. And there was no explanation. The Holy Spirit didn't say, don't do this because this is going to happen. Jesus didn't come down and say, hey, Paul, now I didn't let you go in there, and this is why. He didn't get an explanation. He just followed the Lord. He submitted and obeyed. He kept working. He didn't let that detract him. He didn't go backwards and say, well, then I'm never going to be a missionary. I'm not going to do this thing because, no, he just moved on. It's okay to have plans, but we need to make sure that God is in them and that we hold them loosely. That we say, God, these are the plans that I have for my life, but I know that your plans are better. And so if you want this to happen, make it happen. If it doesn't, close the door. Be okay if God redirects and God moves, because I promise he's got something so cool for you. I share my testimony here and there, but I was supposed to be a kindergarten teacher. That's what I always wanted to be since 5th grade. And I got a degree in teaching. And I taught preschool and I taught kindergarten, and it was great. And then God moved me into photography, to be a stay-at-home mom, to open my own business, to somehow get in church doing social media and communications, and now I'm in youth ministry. Like never in my wildest dreams would I have chosen for myself to teach teenagers and to be doing life with them. Like that was not a plan. When I made my plans of this is what I want to do in my future and went to college, I wasn't even following the Lord. So working in a church is wild. Doing this is crazy. I'm a very self-conscious person. It may not seem like that, but I don't love to look at my face and hear my voice. But if God is calling you to do something, you have to obey. And sometimes that aligns with our plans, and a lot of times it doesn't, because God has better plans for you. I promise he does. And I tell you what, I think James includes this because sometimes we become too future-oriented and too future-focused, and that we control all of the plans, and the control makes us feel good. Because we have it under control. We are so self-reliant. If I can just orchestrate everything in my own strength, I know exactly how it's going to go, then I don't have to be anxious and I don't have to worry. Except that sometimes those plans fall apart. And sometimes your life doesn't go the way you thought it was. And sometimes you have horrible tragedies that just derail everything, or you lose a job, or you lose a child, or somebody gets sick. Something happens in your life to your plans that you held so tightly. Then what happens? We have doubts. We doubt ourselves. We doubt God. We have anxiety. We're wondering what is happening. Where are you, God? Because our plans didn't work out the way that we wanted them to, and we had them too tight-fist. We didn't submit them to the Lord. You might be relying on something happening in the future, a plan that you have for your life that will never happen, that God will take away from you. And so the whole point of this is you cannot control the future. You cannot control other people, but you can control you. You're called to live in harmony with other believers. You are called to follow the Lord, to submit to him, to resist the devil, and he will give you true joy and true peace. And he will walk alongside of you because he desires to have a close and personal relationship with you. Yes, you. He loves you, and I think that you need to know that. And I will see you tomorrow for James chapter 5.